Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This week we're looking at more men and women of the Bible who are often overlooked, and today I want to look briefly at a woman known by two names, Tabitha or Dorcas. Many of you know that about 20 years ago I had the opportunity to go to Israel with a group of other pastors from across the nation. We flew out of Newark at night and arrived in Tel Aviv the next morning. I didn't sleep well on the plane, and even though I don't like coffee, I had some as the sun rose so that I could keep awake. As soon as we had cleared customs, collected our things, and met our tour guide, we got on the bus to head to our hotel. But along the way, we stopped in a town named Joppa. There, we were able to look at a home that was the traditional site of Simon the tanner. Now that may not seem like much. We had been in Israel about 45 minutes, and we stopped to see the house of Simon the tanner in Joppa. But if you know the story of Dorcas, the story suddenly takes on meaning. Here's the story from Acts 9. Now in Joppa there was a disciple whose name was Tabitha, which in Greek is Dorcas. She was devoted to good works and acts of charity. At that time she became ill and died. When they had washed her, they laid her in a room upstairs. Since Lydda was near Joppa, the disciples who heard that Peter was there sent two men to him with the request, "Please come to us without delay." So Peter got up and went with them, and when he arrived, they took him to the room upstairs. All the widows stood beside him, weeping and showing tunics and other clothing that Dorcas had made while she was with them. Peter put all of them outside, and then he knelt down and prayed. He turned to the body and said, "Tabitha, get up." Then she opened her eyes, and seeing Peter, she sat up. He gave her his hand and helped her up. Then calling the saints and widows, he showed her to be alive. This became known throughout Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. Meanwhile, he stayed in Joppa for some time with a certain Simon, a tanner. So the first place I saw in Israel was the site that has long been considered the site where Peter stayed while he was in Joppa after Dorcas was raised to life. But the point here isn't Peter. Instead, we are considering Dorcas. And what's interesting is that Dorcas, or Tabitha, as she was also known, was well regarded in the early Christian community for her care for others. Did you notice what the Bible said about her? She was devoted to good works and acts of charity. That's the mark of a true Christian, one who gives of themselves for the welfare of others. That's what Dorcas did, and that's what we are called to do. Sometimes we recognize those among us who do good works this way, and they cause a stir among us. Perhaps the most famous in recent years has been Mother Teresa, who tirelessly worked on the streets of Calcutta among the sick and untouchables. In fact, I love to make this point often, and you've likely heard me. Do you realize they gave Mother Teresa the Nobel Peace Prize for doing what every Christian is called to do every day? Right where you are, and even where you aren't. We are called to reach out in love, care, and compassion, like Dorcas. Many years ago, I was at a Lutheran men gathering, and I heard a friend of mine, Larry Kaiser, say something profound. He said, "You've heard that you should give until it hurts. That's wrong. You should give until it stops hurting." That's the heart Dorcas had. That's the heart a Christian should have. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.